The introduction for you is made by Professor Kowalski. It's not me that I'm going to introduce you, okay?
Okay.
I'm going to do this later. Okay, can we begin? Claudia, pode ser?
Sim, sim.
Okay.
My voice all right? Is everything okay?
Está bem com a voz do senhor?
Eu tive aqui uns picozinhos.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Okay.
1, 2, 3.
Okay. So it's a pleasure to have you here, Mr. Jacque Fresco.
Thank you, it's an honor.
And it's an honor for us. So, regarding urban security and your vision about security in the future, how can we redesign a society free of violence?
Well, that is somewhat different because all societies have always been violent. And all through history, man has been violent. But they're not able to understand what it is that makes them violent. That's separate nations. When few nations control most of the Earth's resources, there will always be trouble. What we must do, that is, if you don't want war, poverty, hunger, all the conditions that produce violence, you have to change society to a new system, different than anything that ever existed. And that is a resource-based economy, where all the Earth's resources are declared the common heritage of all the world's people. That would be the end of territorial disputes. As long as there are separate nations, each one working for their own advantage, it will never work.
What's a resource-based economy? Redesigning a new culture without monetary system?
Yes, there has to be no money involved because money corrupts people. You can pay off senators, the drug companies can pay off people running for political office. Once they get elected, they owe the drug company something. You can't have business as usual. It has to change. A resource-based economy uses resources rather than money. All the Earth has enough resources to take care of all the world's needs. Proof, when war comes, they give soldiers are killing machines. They give them weapons of war, submarines, aircraft carriers, airplanes. How come all that's made available during war? Why don't they make that available during peace? So that every human being can be elevated to their highest potential.
Culture, behavior, and environment, bad or evil, insane or insane, are we victims of our culture?
You know, all of us are shaped by culture. If you were raised as a baby by the headhunters of the Amazon, you'd be a headhunter if you never saw anything else. And if I said to you, doesn't it bother you to have 5 shrunken heads? You might say, yes, my brother has 20. That would be normal to that culture.
Okay. Can we change human nature?
There's no such thing as human nature. There is human behavior. If we couldn't change human nature, we would still be living in caves. So if you were brought up as a baby, say, in any country at all, Australia, you, a man, you would say, how are you, mate? That would be normal to Australia. If you're brought up in Germany, Geneva, Deutschland over alles, whatever it is the Germans say, there's no such thing as an individual. We are all victims of culture. If you're brought up in the deep south in America, say an uneducated region, you might say, I'm going to get me a black man and kick him. Well, is that normal? It's normal to that area. In ancient Rome, they used to feed Christians to lions. And the kids would come and the families Saturday to see Christians being fed to lions. Why were they fed to lions? Because the Romans believed in many different gods, the Christians believed in one God. So they didn't like them. So they starved the lions, took the clothes off the Christians, and the whole family would come. And the children would say, Daddy, can I come next week to see Christians fed by lions? If you behave yourself. Now, are they insane? No. That's normal to that culture. What is normal to our culture would be unacceptable in the future. Prize fights, banging the head of another human being damages the brain. Always, not sometimes. Our cultures are all corrupt. There's not a decent country in the world today. Where did America get America from? Do you think the Indians invited us over, say take our land? No. We slaughtered thousands of Indians all over the states, all over the American continent. Then we drove them back into the desert region. Then we stole California from Spain, and I think Mexico. We took New Mexico. After we stole all the land we need, we put up the sign, "Thou shalt not steal." Now that's true of England, France, Germany, all the major nations are thieves. Where do you think we got this land from? There was always other people living there. As long as we separate people and separate nations, you're going to have trouble. What is needed is a global society, all working toward improving life all over the earth and taking care of all nature. If we destroy nature, we destroy ourselves. If we dump poisons and toxins into the ocean, you're hurting the future of humanity. If you don't care about the air, the oceans, we're going to lose. And if we kill each other, particularly in nuclear war, we will destroy the earth.
Can we pass on education?
Well, education today is not real. It's more propaganda. Real education teaches children how we depend on one another, how we depend on the environment, that human beings are not separate from the environment. They're part of it. If you destroy the environment, you destroy life. We have to educate people to understand how they relate to one another and the environment.
Mr. Fresco, is Venus Project, your vision, a workable alternative to conduct human affairs?
Yes, it is. It's very different than the way we are brought up. We are brought up to be patriotic, which Einstein said patriotism is a disease because it separates people. When you think about it, what is it that people need? They need access to the necessities of life, all people. If you deprive them of that, they're going to invade the nearest territory. When the United States claims that we're going to another country to bring democracy, that's a lie. We go there because they have oil or something we need.
Mr. Jacque Fresco, you said, I read somewhere else that you said something like this. We can change people in 3 months.
Yes, 3 months, if we have access to the media.
Okay.
If we don't, we cannot do that.
How can we change people?
Just by releasing this information without editing out things that might upset people.
Who makes the decisions in the future?
Very good. No one. For example, people think Fresco makes a decision. He doesn't. The way decisions are made, they're arrived at, not made. That means you take samples of the soil from all over the world and bring them to agricultural stations. There they analyze the soil, and by the contents of the soil, they say it's best to grow sugarcane or wheat. Not an opinion, a finding.
The carrying capacity of Earth and using Earth capacities as resources. Can you comment on this?
Yes. If you have so much area in a given state, you have to figure out how much arable land you have. That is, land that can grow vegetation. How much water do you have in that land? That determines how large the city will be. You don't just build a city and run out of water. People do not use the scientific method, not scientists, the scientific method to arrive at decisions. Before you send a man out into space, you have to know what man can stand. So they put him in a centrifuge. They don't just send him out there. The amount of people you send out there depends on what that planet contains. If it has no water, no land, you have a limited amount. So a global survey of all the Earth's resources, and then a survey of the physical health of people, coronary thrombosis, brain diseases, cystic fibrosis. Getting all that information tells us how many hospitals build. You just don't build hospitals and hope that everything's going to work out all right. We work today backward. We don't understand the scientific method. The scientific method doesn't want to kill or hurt anybody. Its concern is survival for all the world's people. When you try to make it separate for the French or the British or the Greeks, you're not dealing with the Venus Project.
Okay,
the Venus
no
Project
boundaries.
is all inclusive.
Okay. For you don't speak about love, you speak about extensional. You don't speak about love, you speak about extensional, is that right?
That's true. Love is a word that has been designed hundreds of years ago. So is our language. That makes it impossible to talk to people. When you open the Bible, people say Jesus meant this. No, he meant that. No, you're both wrong, he meant this. So you have the Seventh-day Adventists, the Catholic. You have all these different denominations because it's subject to interpretation. We must devise a language that's not subject to interpretation. When you talk to people, they don't hear what you say, they hear what they think you mean. But there are languages that are not subject to interpretation. They don't talk about that too much. Mathematics, chemistry. When a chemist writes a formula, the other chemist knows exactly what it means. Engineering language. You couldn't build bridges if it was subject to interpretation. So we must eventually devise a communication system between people that's not subject to interpretation.
The clarification of the meaning of words. Sorry. Ok, just a second, ok?
Só fazer um foco.
Podes abrir um bocadinho mais, se quiseres? Podes fazer o foco e abrir um bocadinho mais, porque estavas com o pano muito fechado ou aberto.
Não, estou mantendo o mesmo padrão.
É, vamos manter assim, por causa das legendas. Posso ver no monitor depois?
Eu já vou virar ele para você. Para você ver se... é só um foco que eu precisava voltar lá por causa dos movimentos. Tá bom assim?
Tá, mesmo que o senhor venha à frente e não sei o que, porque eu falo muito com os mãos e gesticulo, não há problema. Eu não tenho entrado em campo, pois não, com a minha mão.
Não.
Ok, tá bom. Quando tiveres contigo. Vamos lá.
When he moves forward, you just see the top of the hat. Maybe the camera could be lower so you don't lose him when he moves forward.
Okay?
Ok.
Okay, so the clarification of the meaning of words, language and communication. Talk to one another or talk to each other.
Talking at each other means sometimes people say, have a nice weekend. Why don't they say, have a nice life? Why just a weekend? Because of habits of thought. Our language is not comprehensible. It never was. That's why there's much confusion amongst people. Now, you asked me about love before. Nobody I know of likes everything they've ever done. They've done stupid things in the past. They've made mistakes. So, do you really love yourself? Sometimes very much, sometimes less, sometimes you hate yourself. So love really is a fluctuation. It's not fixed. Even if you get married, sometimes you'll love your wife very much, sometimes very little, sometimes how do I get into this? So love is fluctuating, not fixed. If you understand these things, you don't have conflict with it. Now extensionality in the future will replace love. Extensionality means when a person acts in your behalf, that is concern. When they act to serve your needs, help you, agronomists that grow more food, help people. They're extensional to the human race. People that design safety devices are extensional to the well-being of people. Extensional meaning enhance your life, not saying, I love you. That doesn't tell you anything. It's not extensional.
A world with technology means a world with less humans or better. A world with which machines are replacing people's work or...
I understand your question. A lot of people put it a different way. They say, are the machines going to take over? Are they going to become smarter than people and then take over? No, never. This is Hollywood, always showing robots choking people, killing people. Hollywood artists do that for the movies. Machines have no feelings. They don't want to take over. They don't want to control you. If you take your laptop and smash it in front of 20 brand new laptops, they don't say, we'll get you. If it isn't this week or next week, we'll get you. They don't say that. Computers don't feel. But they will.
Make use of them.
Yes, we do. Make lots of use. For example, when a pilot in the old days used to look out of an airplane and say, I'm about a mile high. Today with Doppler radar, you get exact height. So we want human decisions where machines surpass human decisions. They do not take over. They will be assigned the task of making decisions, like a scale in a butcher shop. The butcher says chicken weighs 10 pounds, the person buys says it weighs 4 pounds, and put it on a scale. So a scale does not, it really is assigned decision making because it's better than man. About 10 years ago, IBM ran some experiments and they found that computers could handle 1,000 trillion bits of information per second. No group of humans can do that. So I see the future government as machine operated. Not a machine, many in a row connected on separate circuits. So if one fails, the other takes over. The machines will control the production of agriculture, distribution of goods and services, but not human beings. They do not control people. Only the production of goods and services, safety, transportation, aircraft positioning, all that, but not humans.
Someone said, if an architect wants presence, he must consult nature first.
Well, architects have a problem, most of them, not all. Ego. They feel good designing a tall building. What's it for? What does it mean? They don't concern themselves with. Cities have to be designed as complete systems with built-in transportation that takes you anywhere in the city. And all districts have to be the same distance from the access center. If you ever spend an hour driving to work, you spend a lot of gasoline, poison the air. The oil companies love it, but they would hate it if you design a city where there's minimum transportation.
Okay, just one more thing. Your vision regarding concerning a world, a future without fear, without jealousy.
Yes, that's because children are raised not to have aberrant behavior. Even a serial killer is made by your society. People don't know how or why, so they put him in jail. If a man steals a watch, say, worth $150, third offense, you put him in jail for 7 years. And you know how many watches you can give him? The cost, all the medical care and the food for 7 years, real stupid. They are stupid beyond description. It's like kicking your automobile when it doesn't start. Putting a man in jail does nothing for him. It makes him, as a rule, low self-sufficiency, low self-esteem, and he learns a lot of new criminal techniques. What we have to do is educate people and make things available to people. If you live near a waterfall with good drinking water, and you've lived there for years, nobody comes at night and steals water. People steal when they're threatened economically, shortages. There's no such thing as good or bad people. Depends on where they're coming from.
Okay, Mr. Fresco, now we are going to change a little bit, and I'm going to ask you a short statement about the Venus project concerning security and concerning science and technology, okay? Vamos poder mudar um bocadinho o enquadramento agora e podemos fazer plano um bocadinho mais apertado. Project, the appliance of Venus project,
Yes.
security is one thing and technology and science another one, okay?
It's part together.
Okay.
It's all together.
I know it's all together, but it's for two different moments, you know. Okay.
Education in the future will be very different. There'll be no Mickey Mouse clubs. This is what they have in America. Imagine giving children that kind of concept. Or imagine giving children concepts such as Cinderella, Jacque and the Beanstalk.
I'm sorry, desculpa, não tinha ninguém, eu vou ter que cortar, querem passar? We must wait,
terrorism, security in the Venus Project.
okay, terrorism, security, urban security, violence, cyber violence, internet, whatever you want your vision about those hard and tough questions, okay? Não sei se eles já foram embora. Okay. Pode ser?
Children are always curious. They want to know how planes fly, why trees are green. But you give them a lot of junk. Like I said, the Mickey Mouse Club, Cinderella, Jacque and the Beanstalk. In the future, children want to know how the world works, how the sun affects plants. So children of the future will be very different than they are today. And in the schools, they will teach them how to share ideas and relate and cooperate rather than compete. When you compete with somebody, you're not sharing ideas. When you have a debate, you're out there to win. When you have dialogue, you're out there to exchange ideas. The future will be dialogue, and the future will make sure that everyone's secure economically, health-wise, medically, education. Therefore, you have no basis for armies, navies, killing machines. Soldiers are killing machines. We would train millions of soldiers to become problem solvers, how to bridge the difference between nations. That's what the problem is, not building war machines. War is good business. If you don't understand me, people make millions selling cannons, aircraft carriers, submarines, billions. So if you really understand what I'm talking about, it should be easy. If you don't understand, when they conscript the life of a soldier to put his life up for the country, they should conscript all the war industries so no one makes a buck out of war. Then it's real.
Thank you. Quarta, okay. What's it?
Science and technology in the future. I'll tell you a little bit about where television will go. For example, the next phase, other than high definition, is 3D without glasses. Following that, you'll get virtual reality. You project an image into the house. Frank Sinatra died many years ago, and they used to say you can't be two places at the same time. Well, when he sings, he's 1,000 places at the same time. The only difference is you have an image on the screen. In the future, you can have your relatives appear in your house, full size, and you can put your hand through them. That's the only thing the matter with it. The next phase in television is telepathic, where you can touch people and shake hands. I'm going to tell you how that works, so you'll understand. When you stick your finger into cold water, the nerve endings transmit so much a certain frequency to the brain, which you interpret as cold water. If you make a recording of those frequencies, you put your hand in hot water, the same nerve endings transmit a different signal to the brain. When you touch soft stuff, the signal is different. We will learn in the future how to play into the tongue, the brain, the eyes, sensations, so you can shake hands with a person that's no longer alive. You'll be able to talk to them. Television will disappear from the screen and become virtual reality, solid images that you talk to. The consequence of that, the meaning of that, is enormous. The future will be fantastic, far different than anything you ever saw in any movies. Most movies on the future, they're killing each other with laser weapons. This isn't the future. This is cowboys and Indians in space. So the future for human beings, if they're smart enough to understand, sharing ideas makes the world a better place. Keeping them to yourself deprives things.
Okay, a world, a better place is a place with more time, to spend more time.
Yes. Machines will do all repetitive and boring jobs. People really don't want jobs. They want access to the necessities of life. So we have hundreds of sailboats, and you check them out. You don't have to fill out any forms or say hello to Fresco. They're there for your use. The minute you have forms that you fill out, you have commercial attitudes. That's the old world. The old world was always, how much will it cost to build a new hospital? That isn't the question. Do we have the resources to do that? We have more than enough resources to take care of all the needs of all the people of the world.